Hey guys, thank you for joining us for another exciting episode of YOMO. This is the Year of Magical Learning podcast. We are talking about Reflection 218 today.
Yeah. So this book actually, do you remember? I'll probably mispronounce his name, but it's Ozan Varol, the guy that wrote Think Like a Rocket Scientist.
Mhm,
Do you know what I'm talking about? Okay.
mhm.
So he has this little email newsletter that he sends out, his blog that he hosts. He writes a weekly Thursday email that he sends out with some idea and kind of a reflection of something that he's been thinking about or something that he, just top of mind is little, maybe like a 5 minute like email reflection or something like that that comes in your inbox and you get a chance to take a look at it. Well, every once in a while he'll do like the best of what I'm reading, watching, and learning, or reading, watching, and listening to. And this is one of the books that he put on there. I like the guy. I thought this book sounded interesting. My wife and I, we were looking for a new book to do together, and we decided to shake it up a little bit and try to do a fiction book. So this is how this book came about. The book is called The Anomaly, a novel by the author. I don't even know how to pronounce it, Hervé, but
Close enough.
right. So this book is about the passengers of Air France flight 006. Without spoiling it, a bunch of people get onto a flight. It's kind of like you ever heard of the show Lost or Manifest? You ever heard of either one of those shows? It's kind of like that, where they get on this flight, something happens, and their reality changes. And then, the rest of the book is kind of piecing it all back together again a little bit. I won't spoil the book or anything, but that's kind of what the book's about. It's called The Anomaly. It's not exactly like Lost, but it's kind of like Manifest, I think. Anyway, so my reflection title for this one is When Circumstances Change Dramatically, Let Values Illuminate the Path Forward. Like I said, I did this one with my wife. As you know, like this has been commonplace in this journey. We've probably done at least 15 to 20 books together over the past few years. Usually when we're out on a walk with Luca, walking around and listening to an audiobook and enjoying the local neighborhood and our coffee shops around here, or like, whatever, just hanging out, enjoying the weather, taking them to a park or something like that. This is typically what we do. In the wintertime, it's getting a little bit harder to do this because we rarely get time to listen to an audiobook together when Luca's in the house and he's running around like a crazy man, and it's hard to focus on anything other than just cleaning up his messes and chasing him around. So the only time we really get to focus on anything is when he's quiet in a stroller and we're able to just listen to the audiobook for like an hour and a half long walk or something like that. It kind of just keeps him tame. In the wintertime, it's a little tough for us because we can't get out and take long walks with him. This book, if I was just reading this book, like I would have probably quit it about a quarter of the way in. I mean, I'm not a big fiction fan. Like there was parts of it that kept my attention, but then there's parts of it where I was like, well, I don't know what the hell's going on. My wife and I are both looking at each other going, should we keep going with it? Whatever. Yeah, sure, let's do it. And the thing that I realized was this isn't just another book to consume. This is about spending time, with people that I love on long walks around the neighborhood with my kids and going to get coffee and hanging out with my wife, enjoying the outdoors and doing my best to try to learn something new every day and living for two with my daughter. And those are the objectives. It's not just finish another book and checking it off the list. So we decided to keep going with her. And I remember after finishing this book, like we're walking down this little place. There's a street right across the street from us. It's called Lover's Lane. It's like this tiny little street that weaves through. We live in kind of a wooded area of Indianapolis, just east of downtown. And there's this winding street. It's supposed to be 2 lanes, but it's really narrow and tiny. And it kind of winds through. And it's pretty much only one car can drive through it all the time. And historically, it's been called Lover's Lane. I think it's because it's really quiet and dark and out in the woods, so people could go hook up or something like that.
Mhm.
So Lover's Lane is like right across the street from us. So we were on our way back and we finished the book, and she turns to me and she's like, so what'd you learn? And I was like, I kind of chuckled because I was like, well, that's really what this is really all about, because I was like, I don't know. I really don't know what I learned from this book. I was like, you're gonna have to give me a hot minute to think about this one. So it took me the next day or two before I wrote my reflection for this one. And I started to think about without spoiling the book, like I said, some people boarded a flight. By the time they deplaned the flight, everything had changed in their life. And I started to try to think about and imagine in my own mind, like, what that would be like, if you came back and you're a completely different person, your entire reality had been altered, right? And it kind of hit me. And I was like, well, it kind of was our life. My wife and I walked in to get an ultrasound, expecting our first child on the way about 3.5 years ago. Everything was fine. And then on that Thursday, and then by that Sunday, our daughter was born at 22 weeks old and being wheeled over to the NICU and fighting for her life for the next 39 days. And like total reality. I mean, it couldn't be more night and day from, the Thursday, the ultrasound check, to April 22nd and beyond, from that point in time when we lost Amelia a couple months after that. So I do kind of have a little bit of experience about what would happen if you walked in somewhere and then, later on and your whole entire reality changed. And it was like, what would you do? For me, it was exactly what I was doing, like it was exactly what we were doing on this walk, right? It was anchor on your values, it's figure out what matters most to you and keep finding a path forward and keep doing everything you learned from Amelia and what she taught me, and just trying to find a way to live your values as much as you can. Like, I mean, that's the only thing that really carries over when bad shit happens and your entire reality changes. You can completely reform your perspective on life. I mean, like the first thing that I thought of the day after, in the days after Amelia, passed away was like, am I even going to be married still in a few years? We just lost our first child, and we were, it was really traumatic and painful. And I was like, I was scared the shit out of me to see if I think I was going to lose my wife, maybe. I mean, or there's something along those lines. Like, I didn't know what to do, but the fact that we were able to be doing what we were doing, walking around with our child, our second child, and enjoying this book, and her asking me like what I learned, like, for me, that's a huge win, and that just shows me what I would do, and in my personal opinion of what would happen if you walked onto a flight and you deplaned and you were a completely different reality in front of you that was staring you in the face. I mean, it's just anchor down on what you know and what you care about, and things you love and the people you love, and see what happens when circumstances change. What values illuminate the path forward, and then poof, there you go. You find us talking to this crazy guy you never met in Houston, and finishing up your 346th book reflection for the day, and hanging out with your daughter every night.
Here we are.
I'd love to get your thoughts. The question is, what would you do if you woke up tomorrow with a new reality, staring at you?
Well, there's two things that makes me think about. First thing is that I think, your reflection, like when circumstances change dramatically, that values eliminate the path forward. And I think for me, there's 2 points that hit me while you were saying it. Is first one is, I think you don't have to wait for circumstances to change dramatically to let the values be your guide. And
Right.
I think be your guide is, just do it all the time and you'll be fine. The second thing is that when you say circumstances changes dramatically, or for example, in the book when you board the plane and you get off the plane and completely change, in reality, that's like 1,001 day turkey. I mean, it's very prevalent. People don't think that, hey, their life can change that quickly, because like, let's say I can walk down the park, down some sidewalk, and then the piano falls down and hit me. Well, in an instant, that changes me, right?
Yeah.
When that's reality changing. And for you, you were just expecting a normal kid, you going to the gym, and then, boom, everything is completely changed. And so the changes that we think only happens in a movie like Lost or The Manifest or this book, it only happens in a story. But in reality, it happens all the time. Because, for example, I can get sick, right? The moment I get sick, it's like, I was fine like 2 seconds ago.
Right.
Okay? And what about people who have a heart attack? What people who have an aneurysm? What if people have a stroke? I mean, it's just like, I was fine, I was watching, I was laughing, and suddenly I have a heart attack, right? Completely changed. So to me, the life-changing event, the new reality, is always there and is always forcing upon us, and we are going to face it at least once, twice, or many times, depending on the randomness that happens to you.
Yeah.
But the fact that this is more common than people think. People think it's only in the movies or only the hate and loss, right? I mean, they're making it an interesting to kind of entertain you, but in reality, there's always things that's going to change. You get into a car accident, you lost somebody, many things happen over the course of our lives. And I think, that's something we need to be cautious about in terms of, okay, if we don't understand who we are, this is the first step. Right? The first step is it will happen. The second step is, what will you do? And you're saying it, let values eliminate the path for you, right? And so I think that's, to me, is a valuable tool. So, for example, if you blindfold me, right, take me into a car, and then take me into an airplane, and then drop me off with a parachute to somewhere, right? The thing is, if I know where I am, if I know where I need to go, let's say I want to go home, and this is where home is, so I'm gonna go home. So how do I figure out how to go home? You have to have tools in your tool belt to be able to use as a compass to guide you home. And so that's why you see, hey, who are you? Like, are you, so for me, it's like what I'm saying is the beaver must dam. Just because, like, there are certain characteristics that you are born with, you just cannot change. There are certain genes that allows for change, and there's certain genes that say, hey, this is fixed. You can't
Right.
change it, right? I mean, you can't really change from, hey, oh, I wish so much to be a girl, even if I'm born a boy. I can't be a girl regardless of, how much I do and do surgery. I can't not have, baby with another girl just because, if you're a girl, you're trying to be a boy, and then so so I'm
Right.
saying is there's certain genes that allows you to, hey, these are the range where you can change. Like, hey, your body weight, your length, your hair, whatever. These can change because they allow for that dynamic changes. There's certain genes that cannot be, and so
Right.
you have to figure out what you are. Because, for example, this is something that I really want to drive home because it's very important, and I make this mistake. We are always conditioned to be something. Hey, when you grow up, you need go to school, get a good grades, good job, so get a good school, go out, become a doctor, a lawyer,
Right.
or engineer. Then who the hell makes sales? Who the hell bakes me my bread and my cake? Who the hell farm, grows the stuff? So that's
Right.
the thing is, not everybody is wanting or liking to be a doctor or a lawyer or whatever, but that's what you're told. So everybody is trying to be this thing. But that's the thing is, if you already know what it is that you're good at and what you have an affinity for, try to spend your crafting skills on those skills versus on skills that is not good for you. Just like, for example, I'm a beaver. To train my muscle to run fast like a wolf or like a gazelle, it's never gonna happen.
Right.
Never gonna happen. But if I can swim, right, I'd rather spend more time in swimming than to running or climbing a tree or whatever. But they say, hey, climbing a tree is good or running is good. So when you first born, you need to start training on how to run, how to, escape or whatever. That's to me. So in terms of human in society, society is going to tell you certain things, but most of the time that's not going to fit what you are. So you're going to have to say, well, who I am, because, like, for example, everybody wants to be a princess, everybody wants to be Prince Charming, everyone wants to
Right.
be a millionaire, right? You can't all be a millionaire. This is, to me, is like, if I had to redo something in the past, this is something I would do, because I love football. I mean, I love football so much that, in the late 90s, right, to maybe about 20 years later, like in 20 years span, I'm like fanatic about football. I know every single player, when they were drafted, where they go, and what the stats are, where the rankings are. I know everything about football. So I love football. My love for football even came when I was younger, even when I don't know. I was like, when I was in seventh grade, I was like maybe 4'2", right?
Mhm.
But I want to play football. But that's the thing is, everybody say, hey, you either want to be a quarterback or you want to be a wide receiver or you want to be some defensive back, right? And so for me, based on my stature, I can't. I mean, even though I'm good at it, I'm not the top. I cannot be the top no matter how much I
Right.
try. But if I understand that, hey, my limitations, I cannot change it. I cannot change, how big I get, right? I try to get as big as because I just have, the genes that didn't allow me to be as big as the profile of these ideal
Sure.
positions. So the thing is, I was always spending my time trying to learn plays. I always spend my time trying to run fast, to do cuts and to do whatever. So I'm learning all these things, right? Even though I love football, but probably if I were to focus all my energy on kicking the ball, I'd probably become a kicker and I would be a professional football player. But
Right.
because I try for position that I can have no chance at, then, I mean, basically have no chance at. There's no
Right.
way I can play a wide receiver. There's no way I can play a running back.
I mean, you can at a certain level, but yeah, I mean,
Not professional.
well, no, not professionally, but I mean, you could play it if you wanted to, like,
I
like,
say NFL. I
yeah.
mean,
Oh,
National
yeah.
Football League,
Oh,
right?
sorry.
And
Yeah.
so the thing is, because if I had focused all my energy on what I can do and what I'm good at, right, I can
Mhm.
probably kick that ball, right? I can be either a punter or a kicker, right?
Sure.
And I think I would have made it into the NFL. Because you have to focus on your strengths.
Right.
Don't focus on what people you think like what people tell you is good. Like I said, if I'm a beaver, I don't need to go to Eagle school.
Yeah, the book I'm currently reading right now, it's called An Immense World. I mentioned it to you earlier this week. It's about how animals perceive their, and not just animals, like living entities in this world, like spiders and reptiles and fish and squid and whatever, like all different kinds of living species, and how they interact with the world around them and use their senses. This book is like, it should have been called like A Beaver Must Dam, because it goes through hearing, touch, vibrations, sight, anything you can think of, pain, like everything that anybody can experience. And then it cites all these unique examples of unique ways that beings interact with the world around them that's just so foreign to us. The thing that I was learning about today, like whales and elephants, they do something called infrasound, where it's such a low pitch frequency that we literally can't hear it, but it's so low and dense. It can travel around the oceans for whales and stuff like that, because it can go through the conduit of water and can travel so far, literally communicate that way. They have conversations that we have no idea what's going on. Same thing with elephants, and then like mice or other beings have supersonic sound, where it's so high pitch frequency that it doesn't travel very far. That's why they do it, because they can communicate with each other, and they're having full conversations as little mice running around. We can't hear it, and that's okay. But we think
neither the eagle,
but they can't hear us. Like
neither do the hawks, right? If it's were to have long range, then whatever the mouse say, the hawks can pick it up and say, hey, I know what you are.
They have eyesight. Like eagles have like eyesight that's like 3 times better than ours, and we have one of the best eyesights in the animal kingdom. And like hawks or eagles are like 3 times better than us, because they can see so far and so crystal clear to be able to dive down there and go do what they do. But to your point, I guess what I'm learning in this book, it truly is an immense world. Everybody navigates the world differently, and they have different ways that they perceive things. And that's why it's called the Umwelt.
A Viking word.
I think it's German, but your Welten, is how you're unique. Your beavering must dam, like it's how they uniquely interact with the world, see the world, and how.
Everybody has a unique characteristic and trait. You have
right.
the beaver, right, and you have the eagle, you have the hawks. Because you say, hey, the eagles and the hawks, they have 3 times eyesight for it to be able to like really hone in into the prey and swoop in and catch it. And same thing with the falcons, right? They can fly so fast, and its accuracy on when it's trying to swoop in is very, very accurate.
Yeah, but they're like effortless too. I mean, they don't think about this stuff. They just do it. Like you don't
like
yeah, right. I mean, that's what they're made to do. Like us, like we can see really well, we can hear really well. In certain pitches and certain frequencies and certain stuff. Like obviously we have we're talking about like physical traits, and then how we bring that out into the world. Like for us, we have this beautiful thing called consciousness, where we can have thoughts about thoughts. I feel like in this world, I don't know, but I feel like it probably is, or maybe it's not. Who knows? I don't fucking know. Actually, I'm gonna retract my statement. All I know is that our ability to have thoughts about thoughts, and to have these kind of conversations, and to find ways to communicate and connect together to go do bigger and bigger things together. Every single one of us has a unique belt almost. And that's where these abstract concepts that aren't even things that are physically on our being, we can take these abstract things and make them real, and that's what values are. They're just abstract things that we can bring into this world. After all this stuff happened with my family, that was what I learned from Amelia, and that was what I did the day that she passed away. I just learned from her, and I was like, look, this is how you're going to live a meaningful life. You got to do, treat each day like the present that it is, and do your best to be who you want to be every single day, and only we can decide
to be what you're supposed to be, not who you want to be. I want to make that distinction. I think everybody say, hey, you can be anything you want to be. No, because this is what I'm telling you. I want to be a defensive back, like Deion Sanders.
Right.
I cannot. I really want to be a defensive back, to be more precisely the right cornerback.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Specific.
Right? That means I know what I want, but because I have limitations, not possible. So don't be it.
Right.
Because all that is going to give you heartaches.
It's running up.
To be who you're supposed to be.
Right.
Because if you're a beaver, right, you got to be a beaver. If you're a duck, you cannot be an eagle.
But that doesn't mean the duck is not as special as the eagle, is the point. Like, I mean,
ducks go to duck school. Eagle go to eagle school. That's my point.
Right.
My point is, a duck wants to be an eagle. Not going to happen. Sorry, not going to happen. So that's what I'm saying is, don't waste your time. Like I say, if I had to go back and fix my life, this is the number one advice I can give myself, and I give anyone, and I actually did give this advice to my nephew. Okay, don't be what people want you to be. Don't be what you think you want to be. Be who you are, and spend the time training your strength,
Right.
whatever that is. So you have to be who you're supposed to be, not want to be, because a lot of times you can be screwed by society and conditioning. You say, "Hey, I think I like this one, I whatever." No, it doesn't work. Think about it. You can say I'm wrong, but think about what I just said. That's one advice that I wish I would have learned in the past, because I would be so good at being who I am, because I had so much time. I devote all my time into it, and
Right.
I would like it. I would enjoy it immensely. That's the first thing, right?
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
And the second thing is you're going to be so good at what you do, what you are supposed to be, because you are given that advantage and you don't use it. It's idiotic not to use an advantage. You have an advantage and you don't use it.
Well, that's when I talked to you about this the other day about, you missed your forehand. You're like, what are you doing? It's like, hey, you like it, hit it more, hit it as many times as you can. If something's preventing you from hitting it, then fix that and then get back to hitting it.
It's fine. It's fine. And you try. Bottom line is, like I say, you have a fixed number of time on Earth, right? What do you want to do? You want to spend more time bickering or more time enjoying conversation with friends? Obviously, it's you want to spend more conversation with friends.
Right.
If you have all fixed limited time on Earth, what things you want to spend on? Hey, do you want to spend on forehand or the backhand? If you're good at forehand, then you should hit more forehands
Right.
in relations to backhand. Right? Yeah, sometimes you have to hit the backhand because situation is going to force you to hit the backhand, because the forehand can't be used at that situation. But if you can use it, use it. But at the end of your life, it's a, hey, I have actually hit a lot more forehands than backhand, right? Yeah, I'm content with this life that I've spent.
Right.
That's what this is about.
That's what you would do. That's what you should do if you find yourself in this weird ass situation where you boarded a plane and then you deboarded the plane, and you're never going to read this book. So basically these people, the anomaly was there was like some time and space field this plane flew into that it just fell off the radar, like it flew into some alternate universe basically, and then somehow came back at the same time. Some other flight, the same flight somehow came back, like anyway, there was two flights basically that got like thrown into some alternate universe. It's been too long since I've read it that I can't remember the exact specifics of it. But anyway, one of them left, but then it landed. So the people that got off the plane, but then that same plane that disappeared with the same people on it, then came back at another time. There was like another glitch in the system, and that same plane in a different time came back into the same time zone. So now there was two of everybody, and they were going back into their life. Some of them had died since the plane had originally landed, and then they came back. So there was only one of them, but now they're coming back, and every one of them had their own unique little story. Basically, each one was like a little story of each person's life of them coming back and going like, well, there's somebody living with my wife. What do I do? I mean, if you came back and there was a true already in your home,
right? There's nothing you can do. If somebody were to kidnap me, blindfold me, throw me into an airplane, and drop me into on an island somewhere, right? I'm gonna find my way to get home. If I understand that I'm this kind of person and this is where I want to be, I'm gonna find my way home. And then you're gonna have to do your best to be you. And it's not to say that whatever you do is gonna come out on top, but it's a guarantee that if you be yourself, you're gonna have the best of that version of whatever happened. Because let's say you get knocked back. Let's say you're on some starting line and then you knock back a few miles, right? And the thing is, yes, you're gonna continue to move forward towards wherever that you need to be, right? If you knock back 10 miles, then you still go the same direction. Anywhere you take it, it'll know how to get home. You let go and fly home. And so when you have your value, you know where you need to go. You're gonna find a way to go, and you're gonna make the best of whatever situation that hits you. It's not to say that the situation is gonna be better off or whatever. It's gonna be better in that situation. Just because random thing happens to you, and if you come back and there's another person, well, you guys gotta have to decide. I gotta do what I gotta do, and sometimes some things are outside my control. And you can't demand that the universe give you back what you wanted and what you deserve. It's not going to happen.
Agreed. I mean, you got to figure out a way to move forward. That's really what all this is about, right? Is moving forward in life. And how do you move forward? We get so attached to who we are, what we do, where we live, the people in our life. Rightfully so. It's easy to get attached to that stuff because it does bring us value and joy. But at the same time, it can be all gone tomorrow, you know?
But that's the thing, is you have to understand that we don't possess anything. So
Right.
you and me, like you and I, aren't going to be talking to each other forever. There
Right.
at a certain point, our lives are going to go separate, because it's basically, you think about in the more of a nerdy sense. You and I have a timeline, right?
Mhm.
And basically our timeline merges, and we meet, and we happens to be on this. We basically on the same, our timelines are basically converge at some
Right.
point, and at some point it's going to diverge again. So
Mhm.
even for you and your wife, right, you don't own her, she doesn't own you. And
Right.
so your meeting is just an event, right? An event that happens to be, hey, I'm going this way, I'm going that way as well.
Do you want to come with?
That's
Yeah.
10
Right.
years, 15
Right.
years, whatever. But
Right.
eventually it's going to depart, right? You and I are going to depart. Me and my wife will depart. You and your wife will depart. You and your kid will depart. That's the way. Because the thing is, it's just a meeting. It's just like I had a meeting with somebody, but in the timeline horizon, you basically had my meeting with you is, couple years, 10 years, 20 years, whoever, who knows. But
Sure.
eventually it will diverge, because it's never going to be forever. And so that's the thing, is you have to be who you are, regardless of who comes in your life, who leaves your life, right? And
Yeah.
so the thing is, yes, there's people who comes in, they bring joy into your life, but at the same time, when they leave, somebody else can come in. So that's the thing you have to understand, is you cannot be attached and hold on to things that you cannot hold on to. You have no possession of any of those.
Right.
The only thing you have is who you are supposed to be, what you
Right.
get,
Right.
what
Just today. And only today.
they
There was this quote just today that I was writing about. Actually, I just finished my daily stoic, for the year reflections in the morning. That was what I was writing my reflection about for the day, because it's a full book, and I finished it. So I wrote my reflection about it. And the quote from yesterday, which was Amelia's birthday, was, there's a saying attributed to this guy named Bill King. Bill Keane, I think that's right. The cartoonist worth remembering. He says, "Yesterday's the past, tomorrow's the future, but today is a gift. That's why we call it the present." And like, it's true. I mean, you don't know what's
yeah,
going to happen, right?
you
Yeah.
decide tomorrow, right? You cannot
Yeah.
change the past. The
Mhm.
only thing you can do is to live today. Today is the only thing you have. You don't have the past.
Right.
Regardless of what you think, you say, hey, I have the past. No, you don't have the past. You can't do anything with it. You don't have the future, because the future is not going to come like the way you think it's going to come. So it's going to be, most of the time, that's why planning doesn't work, because when it comes, whatever, well, it's different. They give you something different.
Right.
And so that's why I'm saying, hey, the only thing you can have is today, it's the present. And if you live in the future, you are foregoing what you have. Because when you live in the future, you live in a simulation, because you're just imagining things for things to come. You
Well,
project
not only that, like, you spend your present suffering for the
for the,
future,
yeah.
for the 1% of joy that you might acquire,
But
10
the
years. We talked about this with the
future
wine,
don't,
like,
but the future don't give you the joy, because it
right.
all gives you anxiety.
Yeah. I mean, so
Because
it's,
future is unknown, because unknown gives you anxiety. I mean, I don't think any future is going to give you the joy that you think you would get from it. It doesn't.
I mean, if you woke up tomorrow with a new reality staring in your face, it's day by day. It's live your values as best you can. Like, and then it will compound onto something. Something will accrue over time.
Point is that when you take it day by day and live who you're supposed to live, you're going to live the best version of you in that timeline, in that
Right.
situation. Because
Exactly. Yeah.
let's say you have like 1,000 universe, and in one universe, right? In one universe, you have the Christians of today, where Amelia taught you an important lesson because of an atomic bomb that came to you. And there's another universe that didn't happen, right? But in this universe, the only thing you can do is say, hey, I'm gonna live the best version of Chris in this situation, this universe. I mean,
Right.
you can't say, hey, I'm gonna do certain things and eventually I'll be better than the Chris who didn't got the
I
atomic
mean,
bomb.
what's better? I don't even know. I mean,
Right. But that's what I'm saying, is you want to live a life that you're supposed to live.
Yeah. I
If
want
you
to live
do
a life where I enjoy every day of my life. Like, I mean, no,
you do anything that's not right, and all you do is adding to the negative. You're only like adding to the stress, adding
it's,
to the anxiety. You're adding, basically you're taking away
yeah,
anything you do that isn't like who you are, that was randomly, affected you in a way. The environment affects you. It's going to subtract from whatever that's left.
yeah. I
If
mean,
you do it,
sorry.
that's what I'm saying. Is like, for example, if I had, let's say, because you think about this, let's say my lifespan is 50 years, right? Somebody else's lifespan could be 100 years, but in my lifespan, right, that's only 50 years less than the other guy. But if I
Right.
spend that 50 years, right, living the best person I'm supposed to be, maybe I want to be an NFL kicker, right? And I can be a kicker for
Sure.
30 of that 50 years. But if I took that 50 years that I want to be a cornerback, I want to be a wide receiver, then I didn't get any of the enjoyment of being an NFL player.
Right.
You
No,
understand?
no.
Because
So
you do
yeah.
that,
Right.
you have the least qualifications to achieve it. That means whatever the number of years that you, let's say 30 years of being an NFL kicker, I have none.
Right.
I have none.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with what you're saying. And you made me think about, like, I mean, I was pretty adamant earlier this week with you where I was like, it's time. So we've proven the club indie model can work, and it's time to go figure this shit out, because to your point, like, I'm not in the environment that I want to be in. Like, there's stuff that's going on every day where I work that it's like, what am I doing? Like, and it's not that I'm mad. It's not that anybody's bad. I love everybody that I work with. Like, and it's, my job is fun and enjoyable, but there is something that's off, like where I feel like, what am I doing? Why am I running for all these trains all day long? I've proven what I came to prove. Like, I made that step. It's not living my values every single day. If I could just block it off with, my time off with just coaching and leading people around, living their values every single day, it would be the best job ever. But I can't. I can't
That's what I'm
turn off
saying. Is a
all the other
writer
shit.
must a writer
Exactly.
must write, a painter must paint. So can a writer goes and play, let's say a painter, and go become a sculptor? Yeah, you could do it, but you're just wasting your time doing something you're not good at
I,
versus go back and do painting.
it's not even that I'm not good at it. I mean, it's like if you put a writer that liked to write about airplane anomalies and then you told him to write a
Technical document.
you're going to be like, well, I guess I'm writing, but like, I don't want to write about this. Like, it's not even just doing what you like to do. It's doing what you like to do for the purpose that you like to do it for,
Fitting, right? Just like, an
exactly.
example I give you is the machine, whatever machine you want a candy machine, whatever. It takes a quarter, not a dime, not a nickel, not a penny, but you can still put a penny in it.
I want to be crystal clear. Like, I'm not unhappy with my job. I've noticed myself where I'm getting more and more, I can feel the anxiety ratcheting up with certain things that are going on, and I'm
You
like,
you
why
you
am I
have
dealing with this?
you turn on this sensor, and the sensor is receiving a signal from yourself. Yes, I need to be there. I need to be over there.
Right.
So the thing is, once you turn on the sensors of sorts, right, then you can hear the, I don't know what you call it.
I think the counter argument to our conversation, if I was just going to put my devil's advocate hat on, you could be like, Chris, well, you can't do everything that you like to do. And I'm going to say, yeah, I agree with that. I don't mind putting up with a few things that I don't like to do. But when what you don't like to do starts to outweigh what you have the ability to do, like when the scales tip in that direction, then I'm like, this isn't worth it anymore. Like, as long as the scales are at least a little where I'm doing more of the stuff that I like to do. I think I saw a study recently, or learned about a study recently in a book that I read a couple books ago called The 9 Lies About Work, where they did a lot of surveys with employees saying, what level of meaningful work does it have to be for you to, percentage wise, for you to not want to leave your company? And the threshold was 20% from all the studies they did from people they answered. They were like, it didn't matter if you were 80%, it didn't make you like that much more wanting to stay. It was like, if you were around 20% of your day where you have to do meaningful work all day, then you typically were pretty happy with your job, right? Where meaningful work means your values get to come out in your work and you get to bring your unique self out, right? Like, I feel like I'm not doing that for most of my day right now. I'm reorganizing processes. I'm doing people and change management stuff that is going on. I'm rolling data up and data down. I'm dealing with, people that have confusion and whatever, like the stuff that I call meaningful, which means helping people to coach, guide, find their values, have these conversations. I don't get to do that. It's quickly dwindling down to less than, probably that 20% threshold right now in my job, even though that is the most important thing that I want to be doing. And as that level tips, I'm like, I start to look around and I'm like, True, this is when I come to you and I'm like, True, what are we fucking doing? Like I've proven this. Like we have proven this. Like the proof of concept is done. Like we did it for a year with the core values quest. We've proven that if an employer gives the safety and security of a paycheck and lets you go do this stuff and see what happens after that, like what would happen? That's been proven now as well. I've seen it with my own eyes. I've watched it. I've lived it. I've done it. I've executed it. And I'm like, if the scales have to tip for me to continue on with this project, fuck that. Let's go figure out how to continue to go do that where we can flip the scales back into the favor of letting, us both, beaver on purpose, I guess, if you will. It's just, it sucks. Like nobody wants to do that. Nobody should have to have the scales tipped in the other direction where you're doing more shit than the stuff you don't like to do versus the stuff that you do like to do.
Right. The scale has to be in favor of the things that mean something to you. If not, then it's not gonna last. Because the thing is, when the scale is heavier on the thing you want to do, you're gonna have to compensate that with willpower. And,
Yeah,
and we know what happens to willpower.
It is depleting right now.
Let's say, when you have something at 49%, right? So that means that you only need to adjust for maybe add to the willpower, using willpower to add like 1 to 2% to make sure that it stays in that direction. But that means because you only needed to spend so little, you stay in that position for a longer period of time. But if you had a scale where it's really like 20%, right, and you have to compensate for more than 30%, your willpower depletes faster. So you probably stay in that job or position for probably 2 years or 3 years before you say, hey, I've had it with this thing. I'm out of here.
I mean, I didn't come to this job for the job. The less of it that I have to do, the better, right? Like, because that was my theory. Is like, if I just focused on, that's what our theory is. It's like, if we just focus on the people and help them to be the best person they can be, will it all work out? And it has been. But like, I have to now focus so much attention on the job right now. And I'm like, I don't like the fucking job. I don't want to do the fucking job anymore. I'll do the job for myself, but I don't want to do the job for other fucking people. Like I mean, like I'm not gonna do this shit. Like I don't want to play these games. I am so bad. Talk about being bad. You talk to me every night. I am very confident with my words. I try my best to be as impeccable with my words with you as I can. Like it's free flowing. It's whatever. Like you throw me into an environment where I'm like having to justify my team's performance or roll data up and roll data down that I don't know what it's all about or not about. And I'm like, I mean, it's not that I'm flustered, but I'm like, I stutter. I don't sound crystal clear. I don't sound confident, because I'm not. Like, I mean,
because you don't believe it.
I don't believe it. I'm just making shit up. So you'll tell me, okay, go back to work, like, and I'm like,
you're going through the motion.
I'm literally just going through the motions. Like, it's not that I don't know how to say statistics, make it make sense for somebody else. I just did that with you with the thing I just talked about from 9 Lies About Work, right? Like it's not like I can't do any of it. I can do it pretty eloquently and I can do it pretty well. But when I have to do it for shit that I don't care about, I sound like a fucking retard. Now I don't want to sound like an idiot. You don't want to sound like an idiot. Nobody wants to go to work and sound like an idiot, like, every single day. Like they want to come and be confident in like, okay, going back to the forehand versus backhand. If you ask, or actually, you know what? I'll call my serve. Like I have an awful serve. My serve is awful. Like, I mean, it's high school JV level bad, and I get by with my serve because other areas of my game are so good. Now, if you came to me and said, teach me how to serve, I'm going to go, I don't think you want me to teach you how to serve. Like, you're going to go, well, no, you know how to play tennis really well. You play well and you get good results. Yeah, I do it despite this. I need to focus on it, but really I just want to start the point so I can get to my forehand and run around the court because I'm fast and I like to hit forehands. So I'd rather, that's my comfort zone. I would rather do that all day long, even if it doesn't make any sense. You're like, well, you're putting yourself at a disadvantage. And I'm like, I'm not though, because like trying to serve hard, I double fault more often. I make stupid mistakes. I put myself behind in games. I mean, hell, sometimes it got to the point where I was just like, I would go like this, just dink it in, and then I'm like, let's go, and people were like, literally, I'd be playing against college level players and I would do that. And they're like, and I would beat them. And I'm like, what? They're like, what the fuck are you doing? And I'm like, I don't want to double fault. Like my serve sucks. It's not an advantage. Like even if I try really hard, like and try to hit a great second serve or even a decent second serve, it does me no better than just getting the ball in and starting the point. Like
Well,
I mean,
it's worse, right?
makes it
Because
worse. Like, yeah,
because
like
you lose the point.
I mean, am I just giving you a free point? I'm like, why the fuck would I even do that? At least I'm gonna make you try to hit a winner, and I'm fast, and I'll get to it. And half the time, I hit a damn winner off of their stupid shot, off of my stupid serve. You know, like you get to a certain point where that doesn't work against certain high level players, but then I have to go back and I'll fix it. Like, and that's fine, and I've been working on it. But like my point is like I can confidently teach you how to hit a forehand and teach you how to run around and teach you how to be more bursty and stuff. I can teach you how to do all these things. And you want to learn from me to do that stuff. But what you don't want to learn from me how to do is how to serve or hit a backhand or whatever else. Like, and that's what I'm being forced to fucking do right now. Like that analytics processes, like, I mean, this stuff, I will do it, but it makes me want to fucking blow my brains out. You don't want me to be in a meeting where people are like, how should we do this? How should we do that? And I just want to go, I don't fucking care. Like, just fucking make it happen or don't, but don't involve me, you know? I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, I mean, if you put a programmer into a sales position, put a sales guy into a programmer side, they are in go position.
Right. You're like, I don't want to do this. Like, you know, even if you did, like, I'm burning a whole lot of willpower every single day.
A lot of willpower.
I'm burning a lot of willpower.
You can't last long just because
I know.
it depletes so fast.
The only thing that keeps me energized and fills my willpower meter back up is when I get to do the meaningful work stuff with my employees. And that's becoming less and less of my time right now because more of my time has been sucked up by all this other stuff that I can't not do it. Like, I can't just literally look at my boss and say, no, I'm not going to do this. I mean, I could, but she would say, well, then you're fired. And I would go, okay, well, I guess I'll do it. You know what I mean? Like, it's
even though you don't want to do it.
That's why it's called work. Like, it's
otherwise you go play tennis.
Right. Well, even in
tennis, you don't work tennis.
But even when I'm playing tennis, like if you asked me to only serve all day long, I would call that work tennis.
It's called work tennis. Yes.
Right. I would be like, this is not fun. I hurt my shoulder years and years and years ago and developed this weird ass hitch in my serve. I used to be able to serve it like, I don't know, 105, 110 miles an hour with a nice flat serve. It was okay. Like, it wasn't great. It wasn't bad. Every once in a while, I'd get a couple free points, but I didn't get burned off it or something like that. I hurt my shoulder really, really bad. I don't know, when I was in my late teens and early 20s or something like that. And it just felt like my rotator cuff was going to fall off. I could hardly I could hit like ground strokes and I didn't ever feel any pain, but it was the back motion coming forward. Like this muscle where when you're serving, you're coming forward and you're turning your wrist through. It's when you turn like this, right? It's whatever that muscle is right there that for years and years and years, my shoulder had awful pain where I'd have to like take like, 3 ibuprofen before a match, rub icy hot all over my shoulder and like hope to God that it kicked in before like the third or fourth time that I had to serve because it would feel like my shoulder was going to fall off when I would serve. So I started to develop this weird ass hitch. Anyway, I'm giving you the reasons behind like why it is like torture to have to make me serve, right? It's not fun. I've at least regained mobility in my shoulder. And that was actually from a lot of the Wim Hof and the cold showers and the breathing and the push-ups afterwards. Like, I mean, I probably do at least 100 to 150 push-ups a day, and it's built the muscle around my shoulder. It doesn't feel great still, but it doesn't feel awful. So like, it doesn't feel like it's going to fall off anymore during a match, but it doesn't feel good. Like, so if I had to serve, if you just told me tennis was just serving, I would be like, I don't want to play this game. It's not play. It's work. It's work. It's awful. Yeah. And that's when you call it work, right? All right. I'm done ranting. Any final thoughts on this one?
Yeah, like I said, whatever you don't want to do, it's going to subtract from all the enjoyment. So you want to maximize your enjoyment level. Be the person you're supposed to be. You have been given a certain set of genes. Those genes determines who you are, who you're supposed to be. You can't change some of them. Yes, you can be a devil's advocate. Say, hey, I can change some of these things. No, there's something you can change, but in a limitations of a range. Don't change it. It's only going to subtract from the opportunity you get. Just like I say, if I were to focus on kicking the ball, I'd probably be an NFL kicker, and I still probably be kicking even though I'm 42.
Yeah, you kick until you're. I mean, it wasn't like Morton Anderson 50. Yeah, like something. Yeah, no, for sure. No, I love that. It's good. It's a good place to end it on. You think you hit the nail on the head. It's you can do this stuff without having an atomic bomb happen to your life too. Like just figure
You're
out
supposed to do it all the time.
Just do it every day, every
All the
day.
time. I mean,
That's the only thing.
Yes. Don't have to wait. Don't wait for things to change.
I mean, it's funny if you listen to this
Whether it
conversation.
change or not, it doesn't change the way you're supposed to be.
No, it doesn't. If anything, you can either fight it or you can embrace it, and you can do it every day, or you cannot. But like that's up to you.
And you cannot determine who you are. You can discover who you are.
Yeah,
but you cannot say, "Hey, I am defining who I am." You cannot.
And I think that people would argue with you about that.
I know.
Like, oh, true. You can work on your backhand, and I'm going to be like, yeah, you can work on it, but you
don't
fucking like it.
Duck to an ego school, and you'll know what I'm saying.
They'll work on it, like they'll try, but they don't like it. Like nobody likes to. If nobody likes to serve, if you don't like to serve,
trying. I cannot. I mean, if I spend all of my years, I can't even be as better as the least of the lion.
Right.
So send a duck to eagle school. You see what happened. So you can say whatever you want, but I'm saying, hey, think about what I have to say. You say, well, I want to be a fucking prince. I want to be a princess. Everybody's a princess. Everybody's a leader. So who the fuck follows you?
Right. Like, actually, that's a really good point from that book as well, the 9 Lies About Work book, where the best thing you can do is to be, and this is one of their lies, like to be spiky, right? Is what they called it. Like, be whatever you're really spiky and be super spiky, but then pair yourself up with people that are spiky in other areas that you're weak in. That's what you should do is find True is really good at this. I'm really good at this. We pair up our spikiness together and we allow I always go back to this with the backhand kind of conversation at this point in time. Like if you were being prevented from your spikiness by something, like physically, it's like, well, I can't do this unless I get past this. Then focus on that until you can get past it and then get back to being spiky in something, right? Like, but the best thing you can do is to find people that complement you in your spikiness. And then everybody is so much better. Like if you look at any great basketball team that's ever been put together, like are the Bulls without Steve Kerr? Like probably not. Well, at least for 3 of the championships, probably not.
The thing is,
like,
this is what I'm saying. You want to
Draymond Green, Draymond Green, football, like you named football players or something like that are like the glue guys, the Darius Leonards of the world or something.
I'm thinking you look at Troy Aikman and Michael Irvin, right?
Right.
The thing is, this is called a duo. You cannot have Troy Aikman won't be as good without Michael Irvin. Michael Irvin won't be as good without Troy Aikman. You look at Terry Owens. Terry Owens is a fantastic football player.
Oh yeah.
But what happened after when he was with the Eagles, right? He was so good. But when they were with Randy Moss, remember Randy Moss, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The thing is, it has to be a duo. Those don't have to play on each other. So those are 2 spikiness. When combined together, they make each other becoming better.
Yeah, right.
And so to simplify all these things we're saying is, you be who you're supposed to be, because you're going to have the most joy out of it. Plus, you're going to be so good at it because you spend the most time in it. Therefore, you become the most spiky in that thing. Right. Because of that spikiness, other people who has a lack of that area will search you out because you provide value. So, for example, in college football, in national football, for example, let's say the Houston Texans right now, and you have like, let's say Patrick Mahomes is in the free agency. Do you think Mahomes is going to sign with the Houston Texans?
I mean, they
hell
don't
no,
like
because
Andy Reid. Well, Andy Reid is a
future.
To him.
Right. How can I have a future without another person? Hey, I go to Houston Texans because maybe there's somebody there that I really value. Maybe there was a great, wide receiver, or there's great offensive line, or what a great coach. Right. The reason why the Andy Reid is successful at Kansas is because he's able, because of his reputation, he's able to influence and convince talented players to come play for him.
Agreed. I mean,
beyond just paying people a bunch of money.
Because look at Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant couldn't win a championship in Oklahoma City when he had Russell Westbrook, who they were both really spiky players, in their own right, but like he couldn't put it all together. He went to Brooklyn, sucked ass, with other people that they just weren't the right mesh. They weren't the right match. He goes into Golden State, and Stephen Curry is his own little spiky player. He's not a great defender, he's an unbelievable shooter, best shooter in the NBA history. He can get to the rim, but I'm sure he doesn't like to get to the rim. Same thing with like Klay Thompson. But you put that with Kevin Durant, and you're like, hey, whenever you guys get stuck somewhere, Kevin Durant's the
But the
ultimate,
point is they'll attract. Whenever
right,
you be who you're supposed to be and you spikiness, right? Your spikiness value attracts other players
exactly,
that need your spikiness,
exactly,
where they bring in their own spikiness that you would need.
exactly. No,
So you don't need to go out and search. Just be the best of who you're supposed to be. Other people see your value will come to you. It attracts.
well, so like we could do the same thing for you. And I know there's a reason why you value your time with me. And I know there's a reason why I value my time with you. Like you do stuff that I don't do well, and you help me to fill in. This is why I'm married to my wife. Like my wife could not be more opposite than I am. Like she's very, very detail oriented, very, very like, like she can endure more than anything in the world. Endurance was never one of the things. This is why I told you this a million times. Like my daughter, Amelia, like I watched her and I was like, holy shit, I didn't realize how valuable endurance was for humanity in general. That was something that I've literally never valued ever in my life before I met my daughter. She added that value into my life, and I try my best to emulate her, but I'm not natural at it. My wife is natural at it. She's a fucking like guru of just dealing with the shit
without effort. You think about the ego, right? When you say, hey, it has the immense accuracy effortlessly. Mm-hmm. And that's what I'm saying is you are given those advantages. Why aren't you using it? That's to be as simple as I can put it.
Right. I don't think that you and I, if we were the same person, I don't think you and I would be talking to each other still. Like, we would have
There's no need.
There's no need. I would have been like,
no
yeah,
need.
I already know that, Drew. You keep me in check when I start to do stupid shit, and you're like, no, it's a good idea, but like, stay focused, and I'm like, okay.
Right, and this is one of the
you squash like 30 ideas.
But one of the fundamental, I guess, requirement for any entrepreneurs, right? Don't go and have two salesperson go together and start a company,
right,
because you don't need the other person. That's the point. Well, you need something you don't have.
Well, you just want a friend.
You get an advisor.
Right, that's true. You should never do it alone. But yeah, you're right. You need people to be spiky in areas that you're not, and just let you be you. Yeah. I don't think you want me designing systems around your, I can give you some ideas.
And I don't want to let you.
I know. No. Don't do it. I'll teach you some concepts, and I'll make you inspired to go do it, and then you can go figure it out yourself.
I only go ask Chris, hey, how can I teach me forehand?
Right.
I want to learn the best from you. I don't want to learn like the second best or the worst.
I agree. No, I mean, I'm with you 100%. I don't want to teach you those things either.
Exactly. I don't want to learn it because I know, hey, it's not your best, right? Why am I asking? That's what I'm saying is if I have time, right, to say, hey, I have time to go and learn tennis. Hey, Chris, teach me the worst. I mean, that just didn't make sense, right? Even for the second best, hey, teach me the second best. No one does that. It's like, teach me the best, right? That's right. To me, is de facto.
That is, you just made me think about something really interesting. I don't know why tennis players or other individual sport athletes don't have like 5 coaches, because they usually only have like one coach, their primary coach. Maybe they have like an advisor in a couple other areas or something like that. But you should probably have, I mean, if you really want to be the best, you should probably have the best serving coach, the best forehand coach, the best backhand coach, the best volleying coach, the best mental health coach. Like, because to think that you have one coach that can do it all really, really well, like the best.
I have a heart condition. I go to my family doctor, say, hey, doctor, treat me my heart condition. And then I say, hey, I have a brain injury. I go to my family doctor. I'm going to my heart doctor. My family doctor asked me to treat my brain injury. Right. What stops you from go and searching for the best of a tennis serve, a forehand coach and backhand coach and conditioning coach or whatever you want? I mean, to me, it seems logical. What stops you from doing it? But the thing is, if you don't think about it, you only do what people normally do. It's like, hey, this is the norm. Whenever it's norm, you do it. Say, hey, I pay a coach and I stay with it. If he's good at forehand, then this guy is really good forehand because his coach is good forehand. And then this guy sucks at serving because his coach sucks at serving. But if you have a guy who's good at everything, either his coach is good at everything, or you have multiple coaches. But the point is, probability of having a coach that's good at everything, it's very rare. It's
impossible.
Busy. I mean,
right. Well, if there is such a person, I'm sure they're not able to be easily accessible.
You're in line to get lessons from him. But if you have like one person who's good at one thing, you have multiple coaches. and then you can be, you know, good at serving forehand, backhand, whatever.
Yeah, I
Right?
mean, and as a player, like, don't fucking give me advice if as my coach on my forehand. Like, I'm gonna be like, go fuck off. Like, I feel like I can coach you on how to hit a forehand. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I don't need your advice on my forehand. People are like, well, you should do this, this, and this, and I'm like, don't fucking tell me how to do this. I know how to fucking do this, like, better than you fucking know how to do this. But now, if you want to teach me how to be a better project manager, then I'm all ears. Like, because I suck at that. Like, you know, like, I mean, help me, like, because God, I fucking hate it. Like, please, God, give me advice on how to be a better project manager, but don't fucking tell me how to prospect better, because like, I guarantee you I'm doing it 900 times
don't
better.
go pick a second-rated project manager to learn from.
You need the best project manager to go learn from.
You can get.
We got to call it a quits. All right, it was fun conversation as always. Thanks for joining, everyone, and we will see you on
Monday. Sounds good. See ya.